So just a few minutes ago, I was speaking with a former ambassador to NATO under Donald Trump, Kurt Volker, about Russia's attack near Poland's border and what to make of that escalation. Here's a bit of what he said.
I think he did it because his forces are not advancing in the way he wanted them to, so he's resorting to more missile attacks and more aerial attacks, targeting civilians as well. It is too close to NATO, but it doesn't trigger the Article 5 red line. It's not on NATO territory. It's not an attack on NATO. But he is getting dangerously close to that, and we had better be prepared to show that we will not tolerate that.
Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, former commanding general of the United States Army in Europe. Welcome to The Focus. And I want to first of all just get your initial reaction to what the ambassador was saying.
Well, of course, Kurt Volker is one of America's best diplomats. He's right. The Russians went after this training center at Yavoriv outside the city of Lviv, partly to demonstrate that they could reach the lines of communication that bring supplies and support from Poland into Ukraine, but also, I think, to maybe go after the logistics buildup that's happening there. But I don't think we should overreact to this. The Russians, I think, are about 10 days away from what Clausewitz called their culminating point, when they just no longer have the ammunition or the manpower to keep up their assault. So I think we keep pouring it on, and the Russians will culminate.
What, in your mind, because we know diplomatically, one of the NATO nations would have to be touched, a border would have to be crossed. That's according to the State Department and Jake Sullivan with this administration. But in your mind, what are some of the other, maybe, I don't know, we could call them almost pink lines? We've got 3 Americans held in Russia right now, including a WNBA player, Brittany Griner. And look, each case is very, very different. We won't get into it here. But that exists, and I don't know what kind of leverage you have to get these Americans home at this point. You've got an American journalist who was just killed, Brent Renaud. And I'm just curious, when Jake Sullivan says we'll take appropriate action once we know more details, particularly about Brittany Griner, what is appropriate action in your mind?
Well, of course, the priority is stopping the murder of thousands of innocent Ukrainian civilians. This is the first priority for the administration and our allies, to help Ukraine stop what Russia is doing. In the meanwhile, each of these cases that you just highlighted is probably being worked in various diplomatic channels, perhaps through third country, at different levels within the Russian government. But the sooner that we can bring about a successful, positive conclusion to this conflict, the more leverage we're going to have to be able to get Americans who are trapped there, to get them out.
And what should our reaction be to an American journalist who was shot and killed? I mean, I know that it is wartime, and as a journalist who's been in zones where there is danger and people are firing, we know that that's part of the press's job. But at the same time, we have these big things that say press, and the partner of that guy, Brent Renaud, of that journalist, has been talking about what that moment was like. We know that Putin's forces are targeting civilians. We don't know everything about this case, but we know that much.
Well, Harris, of course, you've hit on 2 or 3 very important points. The significance, the importance of the press being out there so that we can understand what's happening. Of course, it's a terribly risky profession. I had journalists with me all the time, both years in Iraq and in Afghanistan. I think it's important that everybody recognizes what Russia is doing. This is deliberate targeting of innocent people. These are not accidents. This is deliberate. And the sooner we can stop this, the better we're all going to be.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on the Biden administration's handling of Russia's advances. Let's watch together.
The Biden administration has been behind since last summer. We think about this now as being less than 3 weeks old, but of course, we've known for months that Vladimir Putin was building forces and building capability. We should have been helping the Ukrainians build forces and capability, and we were too late, too slow, too small at every turn.
General Hodges, when you come behind a situation like this, when you're not leading out from in front, what does it do to your ability to really twist with leverage?
Well, first of all, I have to say that the former secretary is about as wrong as he could possibly be. He acts as if he was doing everything he could when he still had the opportunity. Of course, the administration has made some mistakes, but I would say in the last few weeks, I have seen the best diplomatic effort I've seen from the United States since 1995 to keep the alliance together, to bring along other countries. I think we did start a little bit late on providing certain capabilities that the Ukrainians needed. Now is the time, of course, to, instead of blaming, now is the time to build up. We have got to get as many capabilities in the hands of Ukrainian soldiers that can destroy long-range Russian artillery, rockets, and cruise missile launchers. That's the most important thing right now.
Well, there's no arguing that the administration has been very slow to do that. And some have criticized it for slow walking. So you get the last 10 seconds, and then I have to let you go.
Okay. Well, look, there's no point in saying this administration or that administration was too slow. We are where we are. Now it's time to put our foot on the neck of the Russians. They're about 10 days away from culminating out.
All right. Spoken like a general. General Hodges, thank you very much. Thank you for watching the Faulkner Focus. Outnumbered after the break.